Greetings and salutations, how's everybody doing? So we're back to looking at another film, in this case, happy, anniversary to the Flintstones film.
Flintstones, make the Flintstones, they're a modern Stone Age family.
In this case, the Flintstone, the 1994 film, live-action film. This film had been directed by Brian Levitt, and had included actors such as John Goodman as Fred Flintstone, Rick Moranis as Barney Rubble, Liz Perkins as Wilma Flintstone, Rosie O'Donnell as Betty Rubble, along with Kyle McCliff as Cliff Vandercave, and Halle Berry as Sharon Stone, and Elizabeth Taylor as Pearl Slagloop, who was Wilma's mother. But what happened in the film? Well, in the film, basically one of the executives at Slade Co. Basically, they're trying to find someone who they believe is dumb enough so that they can basically use them to try to get away with schemes. And basically, Fred is the one they pick. And in a way, basically, Fred causes a lot of trouble, and eventually he discovers, how do I fix this? And so when it comes to this film, when you think about it, this film actually has quite a lot of puns, and I gotta say, yes, a lot of people are trying to say, oh, Steven actors have or RocDonalds. And speaking of which, the film had a huge marketing campaign with McDonald's, in that, they had quite a huge amount of advertisement. You could have gotten yourself not only could you get yourself a McRib, but you could have also gotten your very own personalized rock glasses.
Right now, when you go back in time at RocDonalds, you can bring home special Stone Age souvenirs or uniquely chiseled bedrock mugs.
These will look great with my bone china.
They're made of the latest Stone Age material, glass. Every time you buy any extra value meal or any other purchase, you can get a mug for just 99 cents.
That is a rock bottom price.
So collect all four, because even before they're gone, they're history. What you want is what you get at RocDonalds today.
I love it here.
That had the Flintstone label, or heck, even characters on them. And looking back at the film, it's still fairly entertaining. Yes, I know, a film that only has a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ooh, scary. But yeah, the film, I can actually say this, I feel like all the actors, they do a pretty good job at replicating all the characters of the film. Yes, John Goodman, who would later go not so sure about this.
Well, John, could you make your voice a little bit more like the cartoons? I said, okay. And then I'd do some other stuff. Could you be a little more like Fred? Okay. And it was not many choices, so it was easy.
And can't you give one more yabba dabba doo before we go? Come on.
Yabba dabba doo!
That was much better, thank you.
I'm screwed.
Not so sure, but I feel like he did an admirable job portraying Fred. And I think, I could totally be wrong about this, I think that Rick Moranis, he did an admirable job playing Barney Rubble. And previously, when we had done a documentary about the history of the Jurassic Park original film, we said after the film came out, there was such a huge swing in films to try to capitalize off the success of the film. Being hey, let's have films that included dinosaurs. That Jurassic Park came out in 1993. So this film came out a year afterwards. So, the animatronics of the film, in this case, whenever there was a Dino or all those other characters,
No, Dino, no, bad boy. Oh, also bad dog. Bad Dino breath. No.
Like, or the dictagram, or the bird that was the dictagram. A lot of these characters were created by Jim Henson, and yeah, they actually are very good. Like when you're looking back, yeah, this film is. I think it's. I'm 31. But, yeah, I think the effects for this film still hold up. And, yeah, I mean, I know the ideas, like, say, the film that is trying to do, like, say, are probably a little bit more, adult compared to the show. But looking back, I bet you didn't remember that, like, say, the Flintstones, like, back, like, when the early days of it, had actually did, like, say, advertisements for cigarettes.
The Flintstones has been brought to you by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
And, alcohol, like beer. That's real. That's real. But yeah, I find the film is pretty creative when it comes to the set design of the film. There's even, like, say, a reference to Chevrolet, but it's I think it's Chevrock, I believe. I think that's the pun that they did for Chevrolet. And I think, like, the recreations they try to do, like, say, near the end of the film, like, when they go to the, almost, like, say, the restaurant where they have, like, the giant bit of ribs and all that. I think the director and all of them did a pretty good job. Oh, I bet you didn't know who this one was produced by. Kathleen Kennedy actually produced this film. Or she might have been, like, one of the executive producers on it. And, yeah. I honestly think this film is pretty good. It's fairly entertaining. And yeah. I have not actually seen this film in quite a while. And, like, looking back, like, yes, you're probably thinking, like, say, oh, a lot of times when it comes to films like this that are based on cartoons and all that, like, say, eventually we would get, like, a sequel to it, which was Viva Rock Vegas.
What are you?
I am the Great Gazoo.
The Great Kazoo?
Gazoo. I come from a planet too far for you to fathom, and a civilization too advanced for you to comprehend.
Wait a minute, Fred. I'll bet we get wishes.
Pardon?
Yeah, we let you out of the fancy bottle. Now we get wishes, right?
Which was a prequel, and it's compared to the first film, which was a box office success, but not a critical success. The second film was both a box office flop and a critical flop as well. And it also had the Great Gazoo for the second film, because it was a prequel. And, like, looking back at it, we haven't really, like, when it comes to the Flintstones, there hasn't, like, when it comes to, like, say, the entire franchise of this property, there hasn't been, I'd say, like, the things that we'd think of when it comes to the Flintstones. You'd think, like, say, oh, also probably the comics as well, because there was the Flintstone comics that we hadn't gotten. And I honestly think this film is worth looking back at. The film was actually shot in Canada, and you don't really think about that. The one thing I actually think about though is like say when I was very much young, I remember like there was a like I think it was from Universal Studios who like yes the opening sequence says Universal Shell I believe instead of Universal. Like they had they had some of the props, like in this case the cars from the film. I believe it was at Universal Studios. I believe because I saw a picture of like that my grandmother had, and yeah, looking back, this is still a very much fun film to watch because like even as an adult, you get a sense of like an understanding of like the ideas. Like as a kid, you probably didn't understand like say what embezzlement is. You probably didn't understand of like how like all the things like say, oh, the rebels are going through the ringer.
Can you say Dada? Say Dada.
Bam! Bam! Oh, it doesn't really matter where we live, as long as we're together. Family hug!
Betty? Exactly where did you get those eggs?
Sorry. I think it might be twins.
And as well as in the fact that, you know, when you, like say like when Fred suddenly becomes successful, he suddenly like loses himself and all that. But, yeah. I think this film is still pretty good. Happy birthday to it. See you next time.